of the stuff we touched on last.
Welcome back in, everybody, to another episode of the Lesko podcast. Joined by Brett Cable, Aaron Zimmerman, again to talk recruiting. I cut Brett off just now when he was going to talk some recruiting. You guys, I don't know. There's not much going on, but we know that Keemon's not coming. We know that Khalil Taylor, I guess he's like he's looking at Georgia too or something. I don't know, but and then there's a couple other guys. There's not much going on, you know. At the end of the day, I still believe in our staff. They have not been here long at all, so my approach has always been I just believe in the staff. So that's going to be my approach until I'm proven wrong, until I'm proven otherwise. That's going to be my approach, my thoughts. We have real coaches now. Terry Smith is also there. It'd be one thing if Terry wasn't there, but I'd still believe in Campbell. But, you know, people want them to go after bigger. Well, dude, like, yeah. I don't know. I haven't seen that from anybody except for one about going after bigger guys and stuff. So, clip that. Brett, what do you think about the crystal balls? We got some crystal balls for Penn State. We're going to go over crystal balls, guys, we missed in the approach of the staff right now. So, crystal balls, what do you think about that?
The crystal balls, yeah. So we got a couple. We have Case Alexander, the linebacker we were talking about last time we were on the show. 6'3" linebacker, big dude. 210 pounds right now. It's a good size for, you know, being a teenager still. So plenty of time to gain some weight. He's a 4-star, top 340 recruit. So getting close to top 300, can probably finish to that extent if he, you know, keeps it up in his high school career. So, yeah, we got Case Alexander. Then we have the other one is Blake Benton.
You said Case Alexander, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep, Case Alexander. Yep, that's the one I just talked about. And Blake Benton as well. He's another lengthy linebacker, 6'3", from Minnesota. Number 3 recruit in the state of Minnesota. So definitely will be a solid get. He's right outside the top 400, which that's solid. You know, that's not bad. I mean, he has room to grow as well. You know how this staff does evaluations. So, I mean, these guys are, a lot of them that they find really are diamonds in the rough that start rising in the rankings. And the way it works, too, is once recruiting services, they don't know everything, right? So once they see Penn State or a Georgia, Ohio State, they see these types of schools offer these kids, they're going to get a bump on their grade just because of that too. So I mean that's a fact. But crystal balls for those guys, we already talked about them. So I mean, I think most people knew that these guys were on our radar. The newest development was obviously we talked about Stanley Montgomery coming up for the hockey game. Literally a couple days later, he decommitted from Syracuse because he was committed to Syracuse at the time. Philadelphia kid. I think he's going to do some rising in the rankings too. He's like a high 3-star right now, a big kid. Look at him. He's 6'3". Coming up on, I don't think he's quite 300 pounds yet, but he's coming up on it. 247 says 300, but I think he's right around there. Big kid. He was crystal balled to Penn State a couple days ago. So, or RPM pick from On3, I think. So, on an RPM means crystal ball. That's just the terminology for On3. So yeah, those are 3 crystal balls that I would just like to see that at least one of them commit, so we can, you know, get the domino effect going. So we can just Because then if these guys are in talks, like, hey, are you guys going to Penn State? Like the players have a lot to say with who they want to play with, right? If they went on a visit and they met, let's say Stanley Montgomery met one of the linebackers or whatever, and they really kicked it off, right? They had a good time. Like, hey, let's commit. So like, there's a lot of power in that. So on who you go on a visit with and who you build connections with, it's all about relationships. So it still is. It's about money too. A lot of them want money, but relationships are still the more important thing at the end of the day than the money. The money's more important to getting the top guys, obviously, but you want the best connection and the best locker room you can build, right? So I think the connections are always going to overpower it in the end when it comes to chemistry on playing with grit and winning games. So those are the crystal balls. There's a couple other guys. I mean, Will Slagle. We're in the hunt. We're in the hunt for him. Miami offered recently, so it's gonna be a tough battle because Miami plays with money. They don't play with relationships. They just don't. Miami could care, and I'm not saying they could care less. I was about to say that, but they care about relationships, right? Most schools do, but they care more about just getting the player and getting them on campus and paying them. So, and that's how they do it. Penn State will never be like Miami. I don't want Penn State to be like Miami. I'm not jealous of that. Penn State is a different breed, right? Like Penn State means so much more than let's just pay our players to come to Penn State. The brand has so much more to do with a family type of community and building chemistry with the coaches and I think the young coaching staff we have can relate to a lot of players. So they just got to be able to not even convince them. They're going to keep it real. Like, hey, we don't want you to come here if you don't want to come here. So if you'd like to come here, we'd love to have you. Kyler Kuhn, we got in the top 5 for him. So he just announced a couple days ago. It's funny because if you look up Kyler Kuhn on 3, he's not showing. And it's a hard way to gauge, like I guess see what 247 says. Penn State's not even like, look, we're not even on the college list at the top, but we're in his top 5. So like, it's hard to look at those sometimes when they don't have a good gauge on who's going where. But yeah, he's a very good player, man. He's an interior offensive lineman. He's the one opposite of Will Slagle. So 163 in the nation. That's a very good recruit. Top 10 in interior offensive lineman, number 2 in Missouri. Yeah, Kansas City, Missouri. So 6'3", 280, good size already as a young kid in high school. So we made his top 5, but Oregon's in there too. He doesn't look like an Oregon guy, guys, from Kansas City, Missouri, right? I mean, not saying Oregon can't land him. He looks like a Penn State guy to me, man. So I'm hoping they make a push. Hopefully we can close that one out.
Yeah. So, real quick, Brett. I don't know how true it is now, but back in the day, what up, Ivan? I think I spelled your name right. But back in the day, I didn't spell it right, but I spelled it how you pronounced it, how you wrote it out. I met with Greg Garrity at Panera up at State College. He was in town. Greg Garrity Jr. We were talking. He's asking me about lifting and stuff, and we were talking about recruiting, and he said how crazy it is now. This was like, I don't know, 2018, 2019. He was saying how crazy it is now. Like, there'll be kids, they have Twitters, and they'll throw 5-star up on their Twitter, and they're not even like close to a 5-star. They just take that claim. So, and like you said, Brett, Penn State has got to be the way they are. They're building relationships. My stance has always been, I trust in the staff. I trust in Matt Campbell. I trust in Terry Smith. We'll see what they do. They're building relationships right now. They're absolutely recruiting. Franklin left a lot of damage on our program, and I'm sure he's happy about that. He was willing to mock us. So, he's left a lot of damage on us. I mean, his reputation is pretty bad. He quit and left us in a bad place. that's still a factor. Absolutely. That is absolutely still a factor. I think it still has an effect. He's been here 2 months, Matt Campbell, 3 months, and they're doing what they're doing. I'm happy with the moves that they've made. The crystal ball, like, man, it's Penn State. It's Matt Campbell. It's Terry Smith. Eventually, they're going to get bigger guys. But again, like, they may not go after the biggest guys. They're going after guys that fit them. I don't think there's anything wrong with Matt Campbell or what he's doing, or I think he's hit the ground running. He's there with Terry. I don't think there's necessarily a transition period from Iowa State to here, coming to a program like Penn State. I think he's doing exactly what he wants to do. They offered Keemon a lot of money. It didn't work out. I mean, it could still work out. But there's just I don't know. I'm seeing mainly positive comments about what they're doing. I'm including myself. I'm happy with what they're doing right now. Now going forward, for me, it could be 2 or 3 years down the line, and maybe we're still not where we want to be. And my stance is still not going to be like, why aren't they doing this? Why aren't they doing that? I trust the staff. I trust what they're going to do. We haven't had a real coach in 12 years. That is my stance. Okay. We have guys that are going to develop. They're going to do it all. So I think it's going to happen sooner rather than later, all of it. But I'm happy with what they're doing. I'm happy with where we're at. And we're not there. We don't know what they're doing. It's possible that maybe it's not going well or it's not a good fit. I don't know. I don't think that's true. But I think overall, I've been happy with what they've been doing from the start. So that's my view. Yeah. Aaron, what do you?
Yeah, I mean, to me, there's nothing to evaluate. There's not going to be for at least a year because you're talking about a staff that was 6 months behind with 60 days of work under their belt.
Dude, they just got here.
They just got here. Yeah, like if you're trying to evaluate their recruiting at this point, you're going to be so far off base because you have no idea what the state is. They didn't even have their staff together until basically the beginning of January. So really, as a staff, they've had like 45 days to work on this, right? So I just don't subscribe to that way of thinking. Like, don't get me wrong, if a year from now they're having issues, then that I think is evaluatable. But I don't evaluate any coach on their first 12 months with a team because it's way too soon. I think I gave Franklin 4 years before I really started to think there was something. Which his recruiting approach was fine, but before I started to really say, there's definitely something wrong with the product they're putting on the field. So the big thing to me, like, obviously more than it has ever been, a verbal commitment means diddly shit, quite frankly, today. So, Spell can say he's going to Georgia. He'll probably be at Alabama next year. Who knows? Yeah. It's like, so
no,
it's gonna be at Notre Dame or Ohio State.
We know how it is, right? Like, because, and part of it isn't just the kid, like, it's not just the young man, it's actually the schools too. So what happens sometimes is when you're this far out on 2027 guys, they try to recruit all these guys, and then as the year develops, things change internally, and it's like, oh well, Spell's not actually going to be a starter when he gets here, right? And then Spell has to go, oh, really? Well, now I have to reevaluate whether I really want to come there, right? So that's why I say, like, verbal commits, I don't really put a lot of weight on. All of these guys could have said they're coming to Penn State. It wouldn't change my mood at all because it's just verbal commits, right? That being said, there are a few guys that I haven't really heard much talk about who are warm on Penn State. One of them is, I think his name is Tillicoot, tight end from South Dakota. What is his name? Tillagrew, something like that. Let me look.
The tight end?
Yeah. He's
Yeah,
pretty
the-
low on Penn State.
The one from Nebraska, the state of Nebraska.
Is it
I
Nebraska?
think.
I thought he was from South Dakota or something.
Oh, that one is from South Dakota. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a 4-star. And
Who is it?
He was a
Cooper Terwilliger, that's his name.
Terwilliger. Yeah,
Yeah.
quite the
So
name.
he's a guy to keep an eye on. He seems pretty warm on Penn State. The other guys I would be interested in, actually on the offensive line, is I think it's Edge. Pace the third from Maryland is another guy to keep an eye on.
Yep.
So he's I personally like him. Like I think his name it's James Pace, right? James Pace the third.
Yeah.
He's an edge rusher that I really like. He's kind of a fast speed rusher type, very physical guy, and he's warming up as a potential guy for Penn State. So this is another like, hey, with Sese out of the picture, that opens the door for other guys who might want to come on board too. A lot of it too is like a lot of recruits are feeling out other recruits, right? So if they think, I want to go be a premier edge rusher somewhere, which means I got to play, and then they see, a 90+ rated 4-star just committed to Penn State or is warm towards Penn State, or they hear behind the scenes, now he's going to Penn State. They may not want to go there for fear that they're not going to get to play, right? So those are things to keep in mind. There's just so many things happening behind the scenes.
For sure.
Yeah. I mean, even a year from now, like if, it's not working out, like if, I don't know, whatever isn't happening, I'm going to believe in the staff. I might have some questions here and there, but, I just give them some time. Like by 2028, if they're not on solid footing, then by that time, then I'm going to have some questions.
Yep, that's fair.
No matter what, dude, we're not dealing with what we dealt with before.
No, I'm sure it's going to be different. Yeah.
Yeah. Like 12 years of what we had. Now they're pretty much taking a different approach. So if there's people upset about that, like, do you not remember what we just had and what didn't work? There are guys and stories that I've heard of big time talent under Franklin doing certain things and not hearing anything else about it. Talent brings talent. Talented kids can bring certain things. Doesn't happen across the board, but we just don't know, man. There's so many factors that go into this that it's going to take me, I'm going to be giving them a couple years, man. Like they deserve that. A real coach deserves some time, some patience. Yes. My message has been the same from day one. So Bill Cowher, like he had a down year. It's like, all right, we're coming back. You didn't worry about it. Bill Cowher. I think Matt Campbell can be similar to that. Mike Tomlin, we had a down year, which was pretty much every year. A down year was not making the playoffs. A good year was going 9-8 and losing in the first round by 27 points. So I know now we have a different guy. We could either suck and get a high draft pick or be really good and maybe make a Super Bowl run with McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers. Like we don't know. All I know is it's different. It's a better situation in my opinion. So we'll see how it plays out, but they're gonna have patience for me again. Terry Smith is there. Terry Smith is a great coach. He's a great recruiter. He's a molder of men. He's a developer of guys. He has multiple defensive backs in the NFL under his reign. So they're going to have my patience and my trust. Joe Paterno had a down year. We weren't like, all right, well, fans, we weren't like, all right, fire Joe. He sucks. He's old. He needs to retire. Like, move out of town, Joe. You're past your prime. I never thought that about Joe once. his last season, they had one loss going into Nebraska. They were well on their way to going to the Big Ten title game. They had one loss to Alabama, who won the national title that year. Okay, so his last season, he was still – that's one of the best teams he's had. Danton Lynn was on that team. So they're going to have my trust. Now, if it's 2 or 3 years in and we've sucked and we're not getting better, then, yeah, that's concerning. But 2 months in, 1 year in, dude, that's like – yeah, I am not jumping on that bandwagon of we need to be doing this, we need to be doing that. What we need to be doing is being patient and trusting in the staff. That's what we need to do. You Penn State fans need to remember what we've been dealing with. That's it.
Yeah, and I mean I think that's part of the issue too, is just like all fan bases or all leadership groups at every university, you have a responsibility. Your responsibility is to keep trying to get better. Right. And so if you plateau, that's when you have to ask whether or not that plateau is permanent. I don't think Penn State did anything unreasonable. They looked at the plateau that Franklin's teams had hit, and they said, they're not getting better. We can throw resources at it, but they're not getting better. And so obviously you don't know what happened, everything behind the scenes. Right? You got to be a fly on the wall for that. But at the end of the day, the responsibility of any sports program is to try and get better until you reach the top of the mountain. And if you don't get to the top of the mountain, then you got to keep trying to get better. And so even if that means taking a step back in some ways, you owe it to your fan base to keep trying to get better until you get to the top of the mountain. And so it's not about whether you it's not about whether you were really bad and only made it 20 feet up the hill your first time, right? Like, it's about the fact that you came back. You didn't just settle for that 20 feet and then just keep walking that 20 feet every day and never try any harder, right?
Yep.
So it's about pushing yourself. So,
yep.
I mean, this podcast, man, started out doing it from my laptop. Camera sucked, but it was good quality content. It started with Austin. Switched co-host to Brett. Started at 0, got to like 500. Got to 600, and then we were stuck there and kept moving. Over 1,000 now. Got memberships, all kinds of stuff. Like, dude, if I started out my podcast after 2 months and I was like, well, you're not at 300 followers, no one's watching, you clearly suck at this, so let's throw in the towel. Like, no, that's like, you can't evaluate this situation after 2 freaking months, man. Like, to truly evaluate it, you just can't do it. Bro, there's so many factors, man. Penn State is not a destination right now. Clearly, we're not getting a lot of big talent. A lot of like top tier talent, we're not getting it, and we're just not a destination. You might have guys in the backyard that will come no matter what because it's Penn State, but dude, Penn State has a bad look right now. Okay, no one knows what they are. Except for like us true diehard fans. Like, we have an idea, but no one outside of like Pennsylvania State College really knows like what we're looking at. Matt Campbell was at Iowa State. He left there. He came to Penn State. Franklin was fired. We went 6-6 when we started out at number 2. That's all people know. So why would you come to Penn State? It's going to take time to build trust and relationships with guys.
This year is important to show that Penn State can still put good product out on the field, and we don't have to be perfect this year. We know we're not going to be. We're going to lose a couple games, right? Most likely. We have a chance to win every one of them, but we're probably going to lose a couple just because it's year 1 with Matt Campbell. Anything could happen, but it's unpredictable. You have no idea. If we can put some decent product on the field, people are going to want to come here again. So there is one other guy I kind of forgot about. He's under the radar. Haven't really looked into his film yet, but if you look up DJ Davis from Delaware, he's lower on their list for wide receiver, but he's got solid offers. I mean, Pittsburgh, Syracuse, West Virginia, North Carolina, Penn State. I haven't looked at all of them, but I mean, decent teams that have had good receivers in the past, right? So why is he? Oh, they only even have a picture of him on 247. They have one on him for on 3 they have a picture of him. 6'1", 175. So I guess they have 6'2" for there. So yeah, I mean decent length, nothing crazy, but big enough for a receiver to play at Penn State. Yeah, just something to keep an eye on. I mean, I don't think they're really going to take him. I don't think he's going to be a take for Penn State until they figure out what's going on with the other receivers. Obviously, K. Cooper, Khalil Taylor,
Gregory.
Matthew Gregory. Yeah, so those are the top 3 guys that we know about, and this is a guy under the radar. 3-star, top 500, number 2 guy in Delaware. Nothing, no slouch, but nothing obviously to rave about. But yeah, I mean, he's under the radar. Something to have in their back pocket in case something goes just crazy wrong. So
sure, and even that's like, again, if the product on the field is good, you can hire my aunt and uncle to do it. I don't care if you get the product. If you're playing good football, you're playing good football.
Yep.
So, and again, it's like just keeping in mind that, like you mentioned earlier, Brett, that a lot of times these guys get offers and then suddenly their star rating shoots up, which tells you how accurate they really feel they are. So they basically wait for the schools to do the scouting for them, and then they go, "Oh yeah, this guy must be good because this school thinks he is." Right?
Yep.
That happens a lot.
The schools are the professionals, not on 3 and 247.
Right. Well, and
they have good guys there, but
they do. But the reality is they're not staffing enough people to scout all these guys properly. We all know that. No. So that's why a lot of that happens, right? Yeah. It's not that they don't do their due diligence on the guys that they do, and that's why like a lot of times they're the higher ranked guys that are for sure they've done their work and they're usually pretty right on it. Yep. But when you go down to this guy from Iowa who nobody talked to, his name's Cooper DeJean. He's a 2-star, nothing special. Yep. He just ended up in the NFL and is one of the top cornerbacks, but that's how it goes sometimes, right? So, and it's just, I think it's a personal one, right?
Pat McAfee
I was just going to say the Iowa fan just donated, so that's funny you were talking about Iowa. He said, "Go Hawks! Thanks for hiring Matt Campbell."
Pat McAfee said the other day, he's like, "Thanks for being a pioneer, Cooper DeJean, for the what did he say? For the Caucasians or something?
for the white boy.
That's crazy.
Yeah. He called him a Caucasoid.
Well, there's not a lot of white corners, so I mean that's not even the craziest thing. It makes I don't know. It makes kind of some sense.
Aaron,
I was going to say
you guys had no. Was it the Giants?
Who are you talking about?
They had a white corner back in the day, the Giants. What was his name? And the Eagles had one too. I know
the Eagles had
Troy Apke and Cooper.
Apke.
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, Blankenship's the safety, right? He's white.
He's a safety, but yeah. He's on the Eagles now. Now, I know who you're talking about.
Gambler. Appreciate it, man. Thank you for the donation. Appreciate it, man.
I was just gonna say Elijah Reeder. Reeder was a prime example, Aaron, of what we were talking about with a miss on the star rankings, right? They finally came in and were like, all right, yeah, we were wrong. This is what he should get. So, yeah.
Yeah, and that's another thing too is, a lot of people are realizing that high school recruiting is a mixed bag because it's just like a draft in the NFL. You don't really know what you're getting until you get them. And that's why so many people like your Texas Techs and your Indianas, they go to the portal largely. And they do that because why take an unknown when you can take a known if you're going to pay somebody, right? And you kind of know what you're getting already. So I don't think
they take the high floor guys like they know about already instead of this guy has a high ceiling, but what is he right now? Type
right.
Of deal.
And even if their ceiling's not that high, and Indiana figured this out, it's like if I have 22 players and I have 15 positions that are better than your 7, like better than 15 of your guys, and you have 7 guys who are way better at 7 positions, I still win. I have most of the field. So good luck beating me, right?
Yep.
And so I don't think there's anything that rocket science about what Kurt Signetti does over there. I think he's honest when he says we're not doing anything special, right? He's just doing the math and going, yeah, well, you can go ahead and have your Kadarius Tonys. You can have those kind of guys on your team. But again, if you beat me at 4 positions and I beat you at 18, I'm going to win every time. Like I will beat you. So I think that has been a big part of their strategies. And like I said, I think when the portal starts to Jason Sehorn, well said there, PSU 2024. That was the Giants corner. Yeah, I was going to say it was Jason Sehorn, but then for some reason I had in my head he was a linebacker, which is not true. But
I don't remember him.
Yeah, I just think it's one of those where, from a recruiting perspective, obviously you're taking a bit of a gamble on a guy coming straight out of high school. You don't know until you get him, and so the best teams are going to be the ones that can mix, bringing in that type of young talent, but also being able to go to the portal and get the guys that fill those positions properly. And I just think it's more of an impact than I think a lot of coaching staffs expected it to be. Like they already had that idea of, oh, we'll fill holes with the portal, right? But then it became, well, no, actually you can stack a team with the portal and you should do that. And then you kind of have the opposite idea where it's like, well, you fill up your depth with guys out of high school. And then if they leave, well, that's fine. You just portal somebody else in, right? So, and that's what a lot of them are doing now. Until something changes with college football and until something like a collective bargaining agreement is in place, I think it's going to be pretty chaotic and it's going to stay that way. But yeah, we'll see what Penn State does. I don't know where the money's wrapped up right now or what the plan is monetarily, because that obviously plays a huge role today. So it's possible that Penn State has moved their offers around a bit, depending on who's interested and who isn't. So Maxwell Hiller would be a good example. They may have offered him a bunch of money, and then they kind of earmarked that in case he takes it. And they didn't want to make too big an offer to somebody else. So, now that he's off the board, I believe we actually, in his case, I think the offer is actually retracted. So I think he's one that, like, his verbal commit doesn't really matter to us because I'm pretty sure we're not even really offering him at this point. So, but most of the other guys, like your Khalil Taylor, I think Keemon Spell, the offer's still on the table for him if they do change their mind. So,
should we move on to guys we missed then, since we're starting on Maxwell?
Yeah, we kind of already covered the other two topics, so
yeah. Yep. So yeah, Maxwell. I mean, I know Ivan. It's Ivan, right? Ivan was saying we lost Maxwell, and I said, yeah, we never actually had him. Right. I mean, when we had Franklin, we were closer to possibly getting him, but him leaving hurt that because big schools came after him, and I mean, you don't even blame the other schools, right? Like he's a Pennsylvania kid, probably wanted to go to Penn State at some point. I don't really know too much about his recruitment, but he was high on the board for the new staff as well. Came on a visit this past week on campus. Obviously, the visit sucked, guys, because we're not in his top 4. I don't know. I don't know how the visit went, right? I don't have any intel on that, but you figured Penn State made a push. They got him on campus. They wouldn't have had him on campus if they didn't want him, right? They would have tried to get him on board for 2027. There was some type of disconnect, right? I'm sure we'll hear more about it soon. I haven't seen anything on On3 about it, really. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, who was his top 4 again? It was crap. Let me find it here.
It was Notre Dame. I thought Notre Dame was in there. I don't remember who else was.
Actually, I think I saw them in it, but
Oh, no. That's right. It's Bama, Tennessee, Florida, and Ohio State.
Yeah, it's a stupid top four, but I mean, Florida's okay. So Florida makes sense, guys, because guess who went to Florida?